thanks to EA for sponsoring this video. Hey guys, welcome back to another Create Sim video. So today we are going to be doing days 6 to 10 of my 31 days of Halloween Create Sims, making basically Sims every day for Halloween. Basically, it's kind of a confusing title. Low-key, I have not nailed it yet, but like, you know what I mean. Basically, we're going to be making 31 Sims for the 31 days of October, and I am really just loving doing this. Honestly, it's so much fun. I just know, I feel like again I was in burnout, and I feel like this is kind of like getting me out of it already, and I'm just having a lot of fun making like really like actually spooky Sims. It's just so rare that I do this, and I just feel like all of them turned out so good. So anyways, so today we are going to be making, as I said, day 6 to day 10. So we're doing day 6, which is a skeleton. We are doing day 7, which is a Freddy Krueger inspired sim, obviously from Nightmare on Elm Street. Day 8 is a fairy sim. Day 9 is the Bride of Frankenstein, and day 10 is a zombie. So I had so much fun making these again. I feel like I'm just having really like a lot of fun utilizing, like finally using all of this CC that I've had in my game for ages that I've just never got around to using, because there's just so much niche stuff that like I download because in my head I'm like, what if one day? A lot of the time that sounds stupid, and as I'm downloading it, I'm thinking, why am I actually downloading this? But then when I actually am using it, it's just so much fun because it's just like so unique, and I don't know, I'm just really enjoying this sim style that I've got going on at the minute. I feel like it's just very different to how I normally make my Sims, or just like how I normally see Sims, and I'm just like having a lot of fun like making it just very different, and I think you guys are enjoying it. So I hope you guys liked the first part and obviously this part as well. So there's gonna be 4 more episodes of this after this as well, as we are leading up to the spooky, you know, the ultimate day, which is Halloween, which honestly, like, I hate to say this, I feel like I've mentioned this before, I don't actually really like Halloween, which I know sounds stupid. Okay, I know it sounds stupid. I love horror, I love everything, like spooky vibes, but there's just something about Halloween that's just kind of underwhelming to me. I think it's just because it's like one day. My favorite holiday is Christmas, right? Because Christmas, you have this like full build up of it where it's like, oh my god, we're leading up to Christmas, like you got the Christmas tree and you got all this stuff, and I feel like there's just such like a fun build up, like movies as well, like Christmas movies, there's just like such a fun build up to it, whereas Halloween, it's kind of like, and it's Halloween and now it's November and now it's Christmas, basically. Like that's just how it is in my head, and I know that's not how it works, but like that's why this year I'm trying to like do this, because I feel like it's getting me more excited for Halloween, and like I'm simultaneously doing 31 days of horror, watching horror films with my friend as well, so it's kind of like I'm doing a lot of Halloween stuff that I don't normally do, and I'm actually enjoying Halloween more this year, so I'm excited about that. But yeah, we're also going to do like a Halloween party at my house, at like our new house, and I'm really excited for that because I've never gone to like a Halloween house party. I mean, obviously we're the ones hosting it, but I just feel like it'll be really fun, and like we get to like dress up. One of the outfits I'm tempted to do is be Jennifer Tilly, aka Bride of Chucky, aka Tiffany Valentine, because I don't know, I feel like it kind of would work with my hair. It's very off topic. Okay, so we're starting off with the skeleton sim, of course. Quick reminder that I do have a credit code, so if you plan on buying anything on the EA app or thesims.com, you can use my code itsqwertyluvs at checkout. It's a super simple, free, and easy thing for you guys to do. So if you are planning on buying any packs, I really do appreciate if you guys use my code. It really helps support me and my channel, so thank you guys so much. So skeleton, honestly, mine goes straight to Minecraft. I hate to say it. No, I don't hate to say it. I love to say it. I love Minecraft. But of course, I didn't want to just make like a Minecraft skeleton because that's ridiculous. And I wanted to go for creepy, but simultaneously, I wanted them to be like, as always, pretty attractive. Loki, I made this sim quite a bit ago. Not a bit ago, but it's been like a week since I made this sim. Maybe not a week. It's been a while. It's been a little bit since I made this sim. All the others I made literally like today or yesterday, but this sim I made like a week ago-ish, so I've kind of forgotten what they look like, but all I know is that they were pretty cool. They were pretty darn cool. So sorry. Sorry. Anyways, but yeah, so I found beforehand, I found this CC. I downloaded this when I started doing this series. I was like, I should download this for the skeleton sim, and obviously this is the skeleton sim, so I obviously had to use it. And it's kind of like these, like, I don't even know what it is. You can just see, look for yourself, okay? It's these really cool, like, sort of wings, but are made out of like bones, and then there's like some sort of like skirt little bit down there as well, like off the hips, that's just so cool, and there's like a little bit around the neck. It's incredible. It's incredible. Who would have thought there's a whole genre of skeleton CC that I didn't know existed? Honestly, using that was the coolest thing ever, and I just knew I had to. Does it logistically make any sense? Where are those bones coming from? Which bones of theirs are being used? I don't know, but this sim does also use they them pronouns, by the way. Every other sim in this video uses she her pronouns. I just thought that this was so much fun, and I was kind of debating it because as I was making the sim, I was like, they're kind of like looking like cool, but I was like, okay, should I just do like a long dress or something? But I feel like I don't want to keep doing that every single time, because my issue with making occult sims is I never know what to dress them in, because you can't dress an occult sim in a pair of jeans. It looks stupid. But then simultaneously, I can't make every single occult sim wear a long dress. So I was like, okay, what if we make them wear sort of like an alt outfit? So they're like this kind of like really cool alternative sim with like fishnet and like all that stuff. But then simultaneously they're a skeleton. And honestly, I think that's really cool. They kind of look like they could potentially be wearing this as a costume. Again, with these, I am trying to make them look like they are real. Like this is a skeleton. Like this person is dead and a skeleton. But you could also see it as it's a costume. Either or I think works. But I prefer the idea of them actually being a skeleton. I think that's more fun. Now I do have that CC installed that is literally just an actual skeleton, which is like the one from like Jungle Adventure, and you can just put it on the sim. And I think at one point I clicked it and it made me laugh. And it makes me laugh every single time I click it, but it felt fitting for this. But like, yeah, obviously I wasn't going to need to do that because that would have literally been one click and the video would have been over. And it would have been a very short create sim. I just had so much fun with their whole vibe. I gave them these teeth things, which I just think are like the coolest. I don't know, I just love using that as an accessory. I do it for a lot of my sims, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like you could probably see me use that before, but it's like these teeth that are kind of like outside of the face face, like on the cheeks. I think it looks really awesome. Like they're protruding out. And obviously skeletons, they only have like certain things, aka teeth, like is one of the things that they keep, I'm pretty sure. So, because obviously it's like part of the body. I say obviously. I actually don't know anything about biology. I hated biology at school. That was my least favorite subject in science. I used to love physics. Chemistry was okay. Biology was the worst. Everyone else loved biology because it was the easiest, but I was like, no, give me some physics equations right now. I would rather do maths than do anything to do with biology. Like I am such a queasy person, which is so funny and ironic, I know, but like I just can't handle like blood or like biology. The thought that I have a heart beating right now makes me want to like actually cry and die, but then it would be beating, so that would be probably better for me, but simultaneously not better for me because I'd be dead. But like it's just, I don't know, I get very stressed about the fact that I am a skeleton underneath here, so I just don't really like thinking about it too much. So unfortunately now I've said that, now I'm thinking about that and now I want to cry. But anyways, let's get off topic. Point being, I don't really like biology, so I actually don't know anything about skeletons really, but they look cool. And really, who cares? Hopefully not you, because I think that they look really cool. But yeah, again, there will be a CC list in the description down below. Once again, if it's delayed by a few days, I'm very sorry. I have got the CC list now up for the last video, so sorry it took me a couple days to do that, but it's just, I'm kind of like, again, I'm prioritizing making the Sims, and then the CC list kind of comes second priority, just so that I actually can get the video out on time. But then, you know, obviously I still want to do the CC list at some point, because I know you guys are wanting the CC for these Sims, because I would personally want the CC for these Sims if I was watching this video as not myself. Like, I just think the CC I used is incredible, and these crates are incredible. Another thing I did for the skeleton Sim is I actually added maggots on their face, because I found this CC, like I downloaded it before doing this, and I was like, I need to use that for one of the Sims. And I thought that makes so much sense, because like skeletons, like, you know, dead, you know, kind of makes sense. You know, they're eating their face, and it's like these maggots just on the cheeks, and I thought that was so gross. Like, kind of cool in a really disgusting way. But, you know, I know, it's kind of fun like that. It's kind of fun like that. I'm just trying to add like these accessories. They're just like, why am I doing that? I don't know, I'm going very overboard. But anyways, so now we're moving on to the next Sim, which is a Freddy Krueger inspired Sim. So if you don't know Freddy Krueger, of course, he is from Nightmare on Elm Street. He's one of the big, like, I would say big, like 5 horror villains. You have like Michael Myers, Freddy, Ghostface, Chucky, and Jason. I would argue those are like the main ones. You also have like Leatherface. I don't know, there's like subcategories as well. Like there's obviously really famous ones, but then there's like lesser famous ones. I feel like Freddy's definitely up there with the most famous like horror villains, like iconic ones. However, I hate to say this, I don't like Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, I just don't really enjoy it. I have only seen the first one, to be fair. Or maybe I've seen another one. I think I've only seen the first one. I don't know. Basically, I've seen one of them. No, I think I've seen 2. And I just don't like it. I don't like it. I just find it's not my vibe. First of all, the idea of it terrifies me, I'll be honest. Because like, hello, imagine not being able to go to sleep. That sounds horrific. But also, I don't know. It's just not really my energy. But if you don't know what Nightmare on Elm Street is, I don't know how you don't know, but I'm going to tell you anyways. Basically, it's like a film franchise. There's like, I think there's like something stupid, like 10 of them, which is the same for a lot of like big franchises, like Halloween and like Friday the 13th. They have like a load of them. But basically, he is this guy who's honestly, from what I remember from the lore, he is a child lover in a bad way. From what it's implied that that's the case in a really horrific way. And he also is obviously a murderer. So yeah, basically, he's not a great guy and he's very creepy. I don't find him creepy. I think he's kind of silly, goofy looking, but that's kind of how I feel about like all of the horror villains. So, you know, whatever. But it's not really a surprise. But yeah, basically when the Sims are asleep, no, when the people sleep, he like goes into their dreams and then he's like a demon in their dreams, and then basically whatever he does to them in the dreams is like happens in real life kind of thing, or like kind of happens in real life. Again, I haven't seen it in a while, so I don't really exactly remember exactly everything. I've seen it like twice or 3 times, like the first one, but every time I watch it, I'm just like, every time I'm like so convinced, I'm like, I'm gonna love it this time, and I just never do. It's just my least favorite of the main. If we're talking Nightmare on Elm Street, Halloween, Friday the 13th, and Scream, it is definitely my least favorite. I would say obviously Scream, then I think Friday the 13th, then Halloween, and then Nightmare on Elm Street is my order. Like, I don't know, I just don't really love it. I don't love it, but that doesn't mean he hasn't got an amazing design. I think his design is so cool, and I thought that this would be a perfect one to do to make as a Sim. So low-key, she's really scary. Like, I'll be so serious. I didn't expect to go down such a scary route. I was debating it. I was like, do we go for like a kind of like cool costume version of Freddy, like a very like kind of like femme, like cool, like I don't know, just like a really cool version, or do we just do like Freddy? So then I thought, you know what, let's just combine the two. So I combined the two. So like face-wise, she looks like Freddy, or as much as I could to the extent. But then outfit-wise, she is awesome. She is awesome. She's wearing this cardigan that's got rips in it. It's not exactly the colors, because I think that the colors that he wears is actually red and a green jumper from what I remember, striped, but this is like a red and black one, so I feel like it's kind of like close enough, and it looks very similar in my opinion. But then I just thought, you know what, Freddy's kind of a diva, and I feel like he would wear like this skirt and these like thigh highs. Just makes so much sense in my head. And then I also obviously went with the hat because, you know, that's a very iconic part, and of course his fingers as well are very iconic, so I tried to go with some like long nails to like get that across, that, you know, he has like the spooky, like she has like the talons kind of thing. Well, they're not talons. What even are they? I think they're just like, are they knives? Knives for fingers, isn't it? Yeah, because it's like 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you. Yeah, that used to scare me as a kid. I never even watched Nightmare on Elm Street, but that song used to scare me. Like, what do you mean? Don't sing that to me. Thank you. I don't want to know that Freddy's coming for me. Okay, I don't want to know. I do find his design really interesting interesting. And honestly, I would love to dress up for him for Halloween, but like, again, it's just, I'm not particularly interested in Nightmare on Elm Street, so it feels like kind of like cheating, you know, like feels like I'm like faking it if I dress up as him. But I do love how the outfit turned out. I think it's so cute, and I would literally wear this outfit in real life. And I think that the hat and everything works really, really well with the sim. I didn't go with hair. Of course, he doesn't actually have hair, but I thought that the hair like really worked well with the sim. I didn't want to make an exact replica like we did with the Chucky sim in the last episode, where I did like a sort of interpretation, like a Chucky inspired female sim basically is what I'm doing. So same for Freddy in that sense. So if there's any others throughout, then that's kind of the same thing that I'm going to be doing, where like taking an iconic horror villain, but like making them into like a feminine version that's also like a little bit different, just because I don't find it very interesting just put on like a Freddy jumper that I downloaded and like some trousers. Like, it's not the energy. I don't want to do that. But yeah, I also went with like this eye CC that I think is really, really cool by Magic Bot. It has one eye and then the other eye is like out, like there's no eye in there, and I thought that was really cool because obviously his whole storyline in the backstory is that he got set on fire, so he has like a lot of burn scars, and I thought maybe he lost an eye during that. Obviously that's not actually canon, but maybe it could be. I don't know. I just thought it was like a cool little added touch. And the final thing I actually added was a snake, which I know might seem really stupid, but I found this CC and I thought it was really, really cool when I was making the sim. And I was like, I feel like at some point throughout Nightmare on Elm Street, he becomes a snake at some point. I don't know why. I don't know how I knew this because I've never seen the film where he does that, but I googled it and he literally does become a snake. Am I a genius or what? Like, should I not be creating horror films? I think I should. I kind of know everything. I'm just kidding. I don't know everything, but like, I just thought maybe he becomes a snake, and he totally does. So I thought adding that snake was perfect. And I also like the idea that whoever that sim is going for, you know, whoever the Freddy Krueger sim is going against, aka going into their dreams, their biggest fear is snakes, and therefore he has the snake wrapped around them to like scare them, because the whole point is obviously nightmare, is like, you know, what they're most scared of kind of thing. So I thought it was kind of perfect. I would hate if Freddy came into my dreams, bro. Are you even joking me? I am petrified of zombies. Bro would use that against me so much, and I hate that. I would have zombies on planes. That's literally what he would do. He would put me up in the air with zombies and spiders on a plane, and that's literally what would happen, and I would die in the dream from shock, and it wouldn't be very fun for me, to be honest. But yeah, so now we're moving on to day 3. So the third sim is a fairy sim. So this one was the most up for interpretation out of the bunch, and you might be thinking, okay, Lana, you've done fairies before. Like, obviously the fairy pack came out a few months ago. Like, you made fairies back then, and you made fairies before, and that was my exact thought process as well. And I was like, you know what have I never made? A really scary fairy. And I was like, that's kind of perfect. It also rhymes, therefore it's definitely perfect. Scary fairy. Pretty sure they're meant to be scary because it rhymes. That is how the world works. I just thought I'm gonna go full spook, and I did. And I googled scary fairy and it came up with this fairy drawing thing, and I was like, yeah, awesome, I'm gonna go with that. So I went for the spookiest fairy I could come up with, and I love her so much. I think she's so cool. She slightly reminds me, this is very niche, but you know in the Percy Jackson movie, like the first one, you know when there's like the teacher and she turns into like, what does she even turn into? Like the flying thing kind of thing. She kind of looks like her in a way, if that makes any sense. I don't know. I love that film so much. So like, it's always engraved in my head, you know what I mean? But yeah, I just went for like spooky vibes. I went for these giant bat ears, which technically don't make any sense. She's kind of a mix of like a demon, a fairy, and also a vampire. I feel like she could kind of lean any direction, but I was going for specifically fairy. So obviously I actually made her as a fairy in the game. But then like halfway through, I was looking at different wings options, like of the actual like in-game wings. And I was like, hey, these are cool. You know, I like that they move and stuff, but none of them were feeling very like demonic, like very like creepy, very scary. And then I was like, I have wing CC in here. So I looked and I found these incredible like bat looking wings that I thought were so much more perfect. So I ended up swapping them out to those. So they aren't like the proper in-game fairy wings, but she is technically in-game a fairy. So she is still a fairy. Because like the ones in the game, this is the Sims fault. They don't want to do creepy. I get it. I understand. Although that's a lie. Strangerville is terrifying, but I have still got nightmares about the Strangerville townies, okay? But like, obviously they're not going to like make these like terrifying wings for these fairy Sims. Like, fairies are meant to be nice, you know? But like, I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make them spooky. And I just really, really love how she turned out. I don't know. Again, I'm just trying to make a cult that like look really like a cult. Like, this isn't no like, oh, I'm a fairy, you know? I'm not like nonchalant about it. Like, I am a fairy, and I'm going to be so chalant, and I'm going to tell everyone that I'm a fairy because look at me. I also love the idea because I gave her this like really cute dress, and I love the idea that she's kind of like a siren in a sense. I gave her like the romantic traits. Every single one of these Sims, as I'm making them, I kind of come up with backstories for them. So please excuse my rambling, but that's literally my whole channel. If you excuse that, you're not going to have any content because that's literally all I do. But basically, I really like the idea that she's like this sort of like Laura, like she lures in Sims and then like kills them. So like she lures them in because she's got this like really cute dress on. I don't know, she has like a mask or something, and then that's like her true form. Or like maybe she like transforms, like maybe her face looks different in like the daytime, and then like if she wants to kill, she kind of transforms into that, kind of like a dark form for vampires in a way. I just thought that was like a really cool idea that she's like this kind of siren but for fairies. I don't know, I really like that idea, and I was just having a lot of fun like thinking of that. I also gave her this tongue, which is ridiculous, and it's like fully like a tongue stuck out. But you know what, I've had that in my game for so long, and I thought, you know what, today's the day. Today's the day I use it, because I've been wanting to use it for like ages, and I keep trying to, and it never looks right. But I feel like it really suits her a lot, so I really liked that. And I was also trying to use the like slider that I have. So you know how like with the last lot, I made like the scary doll and like she has like the smiling face. I was trying to use that in a way that was actually sad. So I was trying to like make the corners of the mouths like sad so that their mouths are open, but like in like a angry way, if that makes any sense. You can kind of see. I just thought I was kind of cool, and I was just trying to use it in a different sense because I didn't want to just do like every single Sims like hello, because like it's all fun and games, but it's a little bit boring. Also, whilst we're here, I am going to yap about which other films I have watched, because as I said in the last video, which films I'd watched, I forget which one I was up to by then, but we watched, yeah, Hell House. Then we watched Host on day 4. So if you've not seen that, that is a 60-minute horror film that is like completely shot over Zoom because it was during COVID, and it's this incredibly creepy horror film, and I really, really love it. It's definitely one to watch if you like any ones like that. And they say it's like the scariest film ever because like apparently people's heart rates were like so up during it, which I think is really interesting. But yeah, it's a really, really good film if you want to check that out. That's a really good one. And then on day 5, oh my god, what did we even watch? Wait, Loki, I'm gonna check on my letterbox. This is so embarrassing. Okay, then we watched a controversial one, which is called The Green Inferno. If you don't know what this is, it's not a good film. It's not good. It's controversial, and it's a terrible film. The acting's horrific. Everything about it's a bad film. However, there's one scene in it that makes me physically nauseous, and so I've watched it like 3 times because it's like the only film, aside from Human Centipede 2, which we're not going to talk about that's ever actually made me physically nauseous when watching a horror film. I really like that aspect of it, which I know sounds really weird, but like I just like that it actually phases me. And then we watched Smile 2 the other night, which I've seen 3 times within 1 year now, which is too many times, but it's an amazing film, and I low-key like love that film so much. I think it's like one of the best films of recent. And then last night we watched the new VHS Halloween film. VHS, if you don't know what that is, it's like a franchise of films where there's like, it's anthologies. So if you don't know what that is, basically it's like shorts inside of one film. So there's like 5 different shorts in each film, and it's really interesting. There's different directors, and like every story, like there's like always bad stories, but there's always good ones, and like it's just really interesting. If you want to see what films I'm watching, follow me on Letterboxd. I think my name is Alana Loves. It could be, I don't know. If not, I'll put it in the description down below, because you guys should follow me on there, because I don't even write reviews really. But if you ever want to see what horror films I'm watching, there you go. And thank you guys so much for some of the suggestions in the last episode as well of this, where you guys were giving me some horror film suggestions. Loki, I think all of them I'd seen, but I really do appreciate it. Like I love just having new suggestions. I think there was a couple that I haven't seen, and I'll definitely have to give them a watch, because I just love any new horror, anything. Just please talk about horror to me. I love it. Anyway, sorry, really distracted by that one. So now we're on day 4. So for day 4, we did Bride of Frankenstein. So originally this one was actually just going to be Frankenstein. I'd actually just written it down as Frankenstein. I was going to make like a Frankenstein inspired, not Frankenstein, sorry, Frankenstein's monster. Everyone always says that. I get it. Frankenstein is the doctor. He's like the actual like human guy who made Frankenstein's monster. So Frankenstein is just the doctor. Is he a doctor? I think he's a doctor. Again, with this one, I don't know any lore of Frankenstein. I'll be serious. I don't think I've ever seen anything that's Frankenstein related. Like obviously I know the backstory, like I know the gist, but I think I've maybe seen one thing that's Frankenstein in my whole life. So I don't really know that much about it. And I was probably a lot younger, so I don't actually remember it. But I decided to make the Bride of Frankenstein. I don't actually know where she's from. Like I don't think I've seen her in an actual film, but I've seen her as an iconic Halloween costume quite a few times, and I thought this would actually be more fun to do than just Frankenstein, especially because the last thing we're making is a zombie, and I didn't want to kind of overlap the two, because I feel like Frankenstein's monster and a zombie are kind of similar in a way. Like they're like, you know, dead, come back to life, very similar vibes. So I didn't want to do that. So instead we did Bride of Frankenstein. I think she's so cute. I went for more of like a sad vibe for her, which I know sounds really depressing, but I went for like, I think that she's meant to be apparently like very like confused, and like she doesn't know her surroundings. She's like very scared of Frankenstein's monster, because she's like, who am I? Where am I? Which obviously you're gonna be like, someone's just pieced you together, literally pieced you together with loads of different people, and then like plopped you out in the world. Like of course you're gonna be a bit scared. I really like that. I really like that I made her like look really like sad, and then I gave her this hair, and then I put like the white streaks through it, because obviously she has that, but it's in a bun normally. But I thought I was gonna do a bit more of like a, you know, a different interpretation, just make it a bit more fun, as I always do. You know, again, it's a bit more of an inspired, but I feel like you can still tell that it's like meant to be her. I think I ended up giving her like tear marks as well down her face, just because I liked the idea of, well, that sounds so sad. I liked the idea of her being really confused and depressed. No, that's not what I meant, but like I like the idea that she's like scared and like she's crying. Oh my god, I sound horrible. Listen, it's a sim. I think it's fun. I think it's interesting. But I did obviously have like the Frankenstein stitch marks, so I did give her those. I don't actually know if the Bride of Frankenstein has those or not, but either way, you know, it's fine. Some of the stuff I was doing was just, I was really having a lot of fun doing it. Like one of the things I did was do birthmarks, but then I was doing it like on only like one arm, because she's not gonna have it on both arms, because that's a different person's arm over here. You know what I mean? That kind of thing was kind of what I was trying to go for. And like she has hair, but only on like her legs, and it's like white, but then other parts of her body don't have hair because the person didn't have hair on that. Does that make any sense? I don't know if that makes any sense, but like it was just kind of fun to do. And I don't know, I find it quite interesting to do something that I haven't like ever really seen about. Like again, I don't really know what Bride of Frankenstein is from, but I'm sure she's great and cool. And I did Google her personality, and apparently she's just confused, and then she gets less confused, and then that's it. So I don't know, that was all I read. It wasn't a lot, I'll be honest. But yeah, anyway, so now we're finally moving on to the last sim, which is a zombie sim. So as you guys may or may not know, as I've mentioned 100 times, I am deathly afraid of zombies. It's not my vibe. I'm terrified. I'm really scared of them. And now you might be thinking, Lana, did you not make this list? Like, why do this if you're terrified of zombies? Listen, okay? I just am someone who thinks that I would like to be scared. I like feeling different emotions. I think different emotions make the world more fun, okay? I don't want to live a life of fear, even though if there was a spider in here right now, I would not be sat here. Let's just say that. But like in a sim sense, I'll face my fears. So therefore I made a zombie. Also, she can't come through the screen, I hope. So we're all good. We're all dandy, you know? But yeah, my fear of zombies comes from the fact that a few years ago, probably like 5 years ago now, let's be honest, I am ancient at this point. Me and my dad had this phase where we watched like every zombie film there ever was, okay? Every single one. World War Z, Train to Busan, obviously that's just 2, but like I'm talking every zombie film I feel like I've seen. And we went through this massive phase where all I wanted to do was watch zombie stuff. And then obviously, like a fool doing that, I don't know, caused some part of my brain to be terrified of them because you've seen 100 zombie films now, Lana. Of course you're gonna be a bit scared of them because that's all you're thinking about. So because I was thinking about them, genuinely, I'm not even joking, every single night I had the same recurring nightmare of zombies in my back garden. And it got to the point where I couldn't have the back door open. Like if we were downstairs in the living room, I couldn't have the back door open because I genuinely was convinced a zombie was gonna come through. Like I couldn't have it open. I had to have it closed. I couldn't have the curtains open. I just couldn't because I couldn't look through there because it stressed me out that much. I was terrified. I hated going to sleep. I was so scared because like I've always been like that. Like when I was a kid, literally from when I was like 4 years old. This is probably like, this makes me sound really weird, but like from when I was like 4 years old, I literally have had the same recurring nightmare of like all my family members dying up until I was about like 8. So that was really fun. And sometimes to this day, I still get the same nightmare. But like, it's just my dreams just are always nightmares. And that's just who I am. And I have to accept it by now. But I just find that zombies are very scary ever since that recurring nightmare. And therefore, I tried to watch one episode of Walking Dead after that happened. And I could not get past it. Too scared, too terrified. So I kind of avoid zombie media now. That's a lie, actually. I'm watching All of Us Are Dead again at the minute. And also we watched Train to Busan the other day. So I am lying. I'm not avoiding it. I just prefer other things now because I can't just watch zombie stuff because I'm terrified. And I will always have a nightmare about them. It's just, to me, the thought of a zombie apocalypse is like literally the worst case scenario. I don't even know what I would do. I know I wouldn't survive it. Let's just say that. I don't think I would thrive. Some people are like, I would love a zombie apocalypse. I think it'd be so fun. Don't say that. First of all, touch wood, okay? Touch wood. No, I'm not. I'm a little bit superstitious, okay? I'm gonna touch wood. I'm actually doing it right now because what if not touching that wood means that a zombie apocalypse happens? But also, don't say that out loud, okay? That's just a recipe for disaster. I think a zombie apocalypse sounds horrific and worst nightmare. Anyways, so I made a zombie. So I wanted to go for pure terror because why wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I? I would argue this is probably the creepiest sim I've made so far. Well, maybe not creepiest, scariest. I think the creepiest was the creepy doll from the last video. I think this is the scariest sim I've made so far because look at her. Yeah, I can't even say anymore. Look at her. She's terrifying. She's literally so scary. I added all of my like zombie CC back into my game before this because obviously I did my whole zombie apocalypse series a few years ago. Also, a little reference. I made the sim called Adeline. This isn't meant to be Adeline. This is just a zombie apocalypse series reference if you watched it. Obviously, I have so much CC from that era, so I was like, I'm gonna add that all back in and I'm gonna use all of this zombie stuff that I don't normally use, and it was so much fun. I think she's so scary. One of the main things I had a problem with is what do zombies wear? What do zombies wear? Because they don't wear like a specific outfit. You know, you don't have to dress a certain way to be a zombie, but simultaneously I can't have a zombie rocking up in a tracksuit. I just think that would be a bit ridiculous. I was really struggling with what kind of outfit to go for, but I kind of came up with this idea that this isn't someone who died like in the very outbreak, like the very first like few days of the outbreak. This is someone who died like years into the outbreak of zombies, so they got bitten like years later, so they'd been surviving for ages, hence why she's wearing like very much survival gear. I just thought it looked really cool, and it was kind of sad again as well because I gave her like the tear lines, because if you guys have seen this film called The Sadness, first of all, I don't recommend unless you like actually disturbing things, because it's genuinely up there with one of the most tense and just disturbing all round. Trigger warnings are very much needed for that film, so please look them up if you're ever going to watch the film The Sadness. But if you ever like anything like that, it's a good recommendation. Again, please look up the trigger warnings. I'm not going to scar you because I tried to watch it with someone and they couldn't get it past 15 minutes, so that's really great. But I think it's a really good film. Basically in that, they're kind of zombies, but they're not really, but I won't get into that. They basically have this thing where like they're kind of like crying, hence the name The Sadness of the film, where like they know what they're doing. And I think that whole aspect of the idea of being a zombie but you know what you're doing is actually the most terrifying concept, because what do you mean you know that you're like killing like a family member or a friend? I think that's so scary, and I think that that's why I did like the tear marks, because I just thought it's like really cool. And then yeah, like I said, I went for like a survival outfit. I gave her like some gray streaks through her hair because I thought maybe her hair was starting to like die out, you know, maybe she'd been a zombie for like a few weeks or something, kind of like, you know, the corpse kind of vibe, you know. And then I also gave her this accessory which is like intestines out the mouth. I'm really testing YouTube's monetization here, but like I just thought that was so fun. And I downloaded it beforehand and I was like, this is going to be used for the zombie sim. And I did use it and I thought it was incredibly cool. So yeah. But anyways, guys, so that is all of these sims made. So if you guys like this video and let me know if you guys are excited for the next part. I'm also going to put in the description of this video all of the days so you guys can go along with me if you're planning to, or if you want to, you can, you know, do the sims as I'm doing it as well, because I'm having a lot of fun doing this. I definitely recommend if you guys would want to do that, to do it, and let me know if you do it. Sorry. But yeah, so again, there will be a CC list in the description, but if it's not there right now, just come back in a few days. I'm sure it'll be there. So yeah, I'm excited for the next part, and remember to like and subscribe to everyone, and I'll see you guys in the video. I love you guys. Also, who's your favorite of today? I think mine honestly probably would be the zombie. I just had so much fun making her, but yeah. Goodbye.